why don't you collect unemployment insurance?
Arnold, to collect unemployment, you gotta not be working at what you're working at before you stop working.
What you talking about, Willis?
Diff'rent Strokes is one of those shows that still feels like a warm rerun on a lazy afternoon, with Arnold Jackson's catchphrase, the penthouse setting, and that unlikely family setup baked into TV history. But the series also carries a darker reputation in pop culture, the Diff'rent Strokes curse, a label fans use to describe the real-life hardships and losses that followed several cast members after the camera shut off. The contrast is what makes it unsettling. On screen, everything resets in 30 minutes, and the family feels protected. Off-screen, the young stars faced health battles, addiction, legal trouble, and in some cases, shockingly early deaths that kept making headlines. Today, we're digging into the Diff'rent Strokes curse and the tragedies that turned a comfort sitcom into a cautionary tale. A hit built on comfort TV.
Arnold, we've come to congratulate you. Kimberly told us that you haven't had one single piece of junk food today.
And we're proud as punch, which incidentally is very bad for you.
It wasn't too hard.
Arnold, what is that white stuff around your mouth?
White stuff? Chalk.
Diff'rent Strokes premiered in 1978 with a premise designed to soothe. A wealthy Manhattan widower, Philip Drummond, takes in two boys from Harlem, and the show turns culture clash into weekly life lessons that usually end with relief and laughter. It was sweet, simple, and easy to watch, which is exactly why people still remember it so clearly. That comfort depended on the kids delivering charm and timing like seasoned pros. Gary Coleman, Dana Plato, and Todd Bridges were not just acting, they were carrying a huge share of the series while still growing up. Fame and money can feel like a prize, but they can also become a trap when you're too young to steer them. The show also flirted with serious subject matter at times, which made the performances feel heavier. One week it was school trouble or first crush nerves. Another week, it was warning about predators or scams. The audience got a neat ending, but the kids still had to show up again the next morning. The curse idea took hold because the real lives that followed looked nothing like the fictional safety net. When the show ended in 1986, the spotlight moved on, and the challenges that had been hidden behind sitcom polish started showing up in headlines. The story of Gary Coleman.
She's pushing my buttons, and I don't like her now, and the next thing I'm going to do is leave. So all of you.
Coleman's life was shaped by health issues from the start. A congenital kidney condition affected his growth and left him with serious medical struggles, even while he was becoming one of the most recognizable child stars in America. That mixture of fame and fragility followed him for decades. As he got older, his relationship with money and trust became a public fight. He had conflicts with his parents over finances, and he spoke bitterly about the childhood years that viewers often romanticize. In a 2001 interview, he said, quote, "I would not give my first 15 years to my worst enemy, and I don't even have a worst enemy." And it's hard to hear that without rethinking what child stardom can cost. When big acting roles were harder to find, he took work wherever he could, including jobs outside Hollywood. He also had run-ins with the law and a personal life that became tabloid fuel, which kept his name in the public eye, but rarely in a way that felt dignified.
It was the saddest thing ever.
Did he like fall down some stairs or something?
Well, they said he fell down some stairs, but I don't know how you can fall down 3 stairs and hit your head and it splits that wide open.
In May 2010, Coleman died at 42. A fall caused severe head injury and brain hemorrhage. His death was ruled accidental, but the public debate around it kept feeding the curse legend because people were already primed to see tragedy following him. Dana Plato and the crash after the show.
Dana was the sweetest person you ever wanted to meet.
Honestly,
I had so much fun with Dana, and I usually, craziness, I slept with all her girlfriends because she'd always hook me up with a girlfriend. She'd be like, "Todd, come over. My friend wants to hook up with you." I'm like, all right, I'd drive over. Because she would live down the street. I'd drive over, get over there. Hey! Dana was great like that. She set me up with everybody. I think the most girls in the valley that were her friends. Even and a few of her cousins. It was great. But she was the sweetest person.
But you never hooked up with Dana?
Well, come on. Of course I did.
Plato played Kimberly as the clean-cut big sister, and fans often assumed that meant her real life was stable too. Behind that image, her post-sitcom years turned chaotic, and her story became one of the main reasons people started talking about a curse at all. Her time on the show ended early, and her adult years were filled with addiction and desperate decisions. She was arrested after robbing a Las Vegas video store for cash, and she later pleaded guilty to forging a Valium prescription. Those details became part of the public record, and they also made her struggles impossible to hide.
I just couldn't live with that lie anymore. And also, too, I knew the truth would catch up with me sooner or later.
She tried to keep working, but much of what she did was tied to her old sitcom fame, including posing nude and appearing in softcore projects that traded on recognition rather than talent. That kind of move can bring quick money, but it also locks a person into a story they can't escape. In 1999, Plato died at 34 from a drug overdose that was ruled a suicide. The pain outlasted her too. Her son Tyler Lambert struggled with substance abuse and grief, and he died by suicide in 2010, deepening the feeling that this story never really let anyone go. Todd Bridges and the Fight to Survive.
Then 2013, Conrad Bain, Mr. Drummond died, which makes you the last surviving original cast member of Diff'rent Strokes.
Crazy, right? Who would have ever thought that? No one would have ever thought that I'd be the last one, but God wants me here. I'm healthy and God wants me here. I got a job to do. And, my job is to help a lot of people understand what addiction really is and understand that there's a better way to live life than just, worrying about other things.
Bridges, who played Willis, is the one people point to when they say the curse did not win completely. Even so, his path after the show was brutal. He became addicted to drugs, fell into Los Angeles street life, and his name ended up in the kind of headlines no former child star wants. At one point, he was charged in a murder case connected to a drug dealer's circle, and later acquitted. That period helped cement the idea that the Diff'rent Strokes kids were headed for disaster, because to the public, it looked like the show's big brother had collapsed too. What makes Bridges stand out is that he's owned his mistakes without dressing them up. He once said, quote, "The bottom line is I've made stupid choices." And then he followed it with, quote, "But I got my life together, and that's the difference. I'm not the same idiot I used to be." That blunt honesty also explains why he became the survivor story in a cast linked to loss. Over time, he cleaned up, spoke to young people about addiction, and kept working in smaller acting roles. He even titled his memoir Killing Willis, a nod to the character name he had to carry while trying to rebuild his real life. Why people call it a curse. The curse label works because it's a neat headline, but the real pattern is more human than supernatural. You have young performers carrying adult pressure, money changing hands fast, and adults around them who may not have been equipped or motivated to protect them. Add addiction and legal trouble, and the outcome can turn tragic quickly. It also matters that the adult cast is gone now, which adds a layer of sadness for fans who watch this as comfort TV. Conrad Bain, who played Philip Drummond, died in 2013. Charlotte Rae, who played Mrs. Garrett before leading The Facts of Life, died in 2018 after major health battles. The label sticks because the story kept echoing across years. Plato's death was followed by her son's suicide, and Coleman's death reopened old questions about money, trust, and who was really looking out for him. Each new headline pulled the show back into the conversation in a darker way. So not every cast member died tragically, but it's true that 2 of the 3 kids died young. One fought through an addiction and near disaster, and the show's legacy became tied to pain as much as laughs. Now it's time to hear from you. When you think about Diff'rent Strokes, do you believe the word curse fits? Or do you see these tragedies as the harsh reality of child stardom and the way the industry treats kids once the spotlight moves on? Let us know in the comments section below.